What's up YouTube? So today I'm going to be showing you guys how you can add energy to your music video with this very simple effect right here. It can be done super quickly and it's definitely something that can just be a quick eye catch. So let's just hop into After Effects right here. I'm going to be uploading every day this month, so make sure to stay tuned. And I did just drop the complete 3D title bundle, which has over 40 pre-animated 3D titles, all created with the purpose of saving you as much time and energy as possible when editing music videos. And y'all can use 40 titles for 15% off. So I just got this clip of me in my living room. I know I'm jumping around like a fool. So first off, just start off by rotoscoping out your subject. So I already did that here. Rotoscoping is super easy in After Effects 2025, so I don't need to go into it. I didn't even track it. I literally just let it do it for itself and tracked amazingly. So on this background layer, I'm going to just start off by pre-composing it. So I'll do Control-Shift-C, go ahead and move all attributes into the new composition. And then I got this GIF off of Giphy.com and it's by Erica Anderson, so shout out to you. But it's just this really cool graphic. I'll just show you what it looks like here. That's what it looks like. And what we're going to do is we're going to set that to a displacement map on the background layer. So in order to do that, we'll drag it in between those two layers, the roto and the background. And then it's not lasting for the whole duration of the clip, so I'll just duplicate it and then drag it over like that. And then for these layers, I'll also pre-compose them. So highlight them and do Control-Shift-C again. Very simple. On this layer, I'm going to just rename it 1. So click enter on your keyboard and rename it. And on this background layer, I'll add on the built-in displacement map effect. And for this input right here, I'll set it to 1. And then as you guys can see here, if I set this layer to invisible and then I just increase the max horizontal displacement, you're going to start to see it's going to displace to that background. And then you can also click wrap pixels around if you guys don't want the black edges over there. You can also adjust the Y. So that's how you can get this kind of like overly displaced look here. It kind of makes it look almost a little bit glitchy and just super distorted. So you guys can leave it like this, or another way is you could add on Sapphire Distort if you have Sapphire plugins, and then just go ahead and set that to 1 again for this input right here. You guys can get some different sort of looks. Let's try it out with a Distort Chroma. And if you decrease the blur lens all the way down, you're going to get this very interesting, like techie look almost. Kind of looks like a computer's guts kind of spewed all around the background. And when it's moving with like a ton of motion, definitely adds a lot on that thing. But for now, I'm just going to do Sapphire Distort, and then we can just export that as is. And now we have something that looks like this. So there's a lot of motion in the background, and this is kind of the foundations for creating a lot of energy in a music video. So next, what I want to do is I'm going to add on radial blur. This is built into After Effects as well. Decrease the amount to something like 3, and then I'm going to set the center keyframe at the start and go ahead and just set it to, you can do the face or the chest. I'm going to just do my nose, and then to track it, it's really easy. Just set a few keyframes here. It doesn't have to be like overly done really. It's just very simple. And then if you want to see those keyframes, click U on your keyboard, and then I'll just kind of go halfway between each of these keyframes. I'll set that to my nose here. Again, halfway, bring it there, halfway. So it's going to be tracked to my face super easily. I did that, took about 15 seconds. So now we have something that looks like this. And as you can see, it kind of makes it look like it's kind of going in like this liquidy spiral in the background once you add on radial blur. And now I want to add on some movement. So I'm going to go ahead and keyframe my transform keyframes under the dropdown. And then I'm going to move the anchor point to line up with like either my nose or my forehead or my chin. And then I can just go ahead and scale it in. I want to zoom all the way in there. And then, yeah, I'll go from the nose. So right there, zoom in maybe a little bit more. And then set a keyframe later in the clip, but bring it all back down to 0. And then just highlight all of that. Add F9 and then open up your graph editor. And now I'm just going to crank everything over to the left. And if you don't have F9 on your keyboard, if you're on Mac, do right click, keyframe assistant, click easy ease, and it's going to kind of slowly zoom out like that. Let's kind of bring these over a little bit and make sure to add on motion blur for sure. Now I'm going to add on tritone to change the color. Do whatever color you want. In this example, I just did red. And then we're going to add on Lumetri color so we can crank up a lot of these values. And then of course you can change the blend with original if you don't want it to be like just pure blood red. And now later in the clip, I want to bring all of these values to 0 for Lumetri color. So just leave them as is later in the clip. But then on the first frame, I just want to crank everything up. So I'll crank up the contrast, bring down the shadows, bring up the whites, crank the blacks all the way down. And then also go ahead and set a keyframe for blend with original for tritone. On the first frame, set that to just wherever you want. And then later in the clip, bring it back down to 0. Or sorry, I meant to bring it to 100. So it's back to normal like that. And then you guys can just add on like a normal color grade to this if you want. Then I'm gonna do Control-Alt-Y to create an adjustment layer. And I'm just gonna add on one of my shake presets. These work in After Effects and Premiere Pro. And I updated it so they all work for 4K and 1080p footage. If you guys want the best time-saving editing packs and presets, make sure to check out the link in the description. I appreciate you guys, as always, for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day, man. Peace out.
J-Mo, you made